Did you know there is a lot of similarities between President Lincoln and President Kennedy?
Oh, really? No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they both were elected in the 60s. Abraham Lincoln in 1860, Kennedy in 1960.
Fascinating.
No, it gets even more crazy. They were both killed on a Friday, and they were both shot in the head, and then
It's really interesting.
A few moments later.
Now stay with me here. Both Lincoln and Kennedy had a vice president named Johnson. You have Andrew Johnson and Lyndon Johnson. And what years were they born? 1808 and 1908. And then you think of the people who assassinated them. John Wilkes Booth and Lee Harvey Oswald. Is it a coincidence that they're both known by all three of their names? And if you count all the letters in the name, what does it add up to? 15. And then both were shot before they had their trial. And then if you think about Ford's Theater, where Lincoln was shot, where was Kennedy shot? Yeah, that's right. A Ford car called what? A Lincoln? What? Now Lincoln was shot in a theater and his assassin ran to a warehouse. Kennedy was shot from a warehouse, and his assassin went where? A theater.
It's fun. You do learn something new every day.
The Kennedys were a politically powerful and wealthy family from Massachusetts. The father was very ambitious and he had big expectations for his son and what he would accomplish. The entire family knew that this boy will one day become president of the United States. That boy's name was Joseph Kennedy Jr. But then he was killed when his bomber aircraft exploded over France during World War II. Their father then turned all of his ambition and expectations on his second son, John. John spent most of his life in and out of hospitals. John suffered from Addison's disease. It's a condition of the adrenal glands. His younger brother Bobby said that if they ever wrote a book about his brother, it would be how he is a medical wonder. When stressed, John would experience intense pain. But don't worry, I'm sure nothing too stressful happened during the Kennedy presidency. So John, or Jack, his family called him Jack, did become a war hero during World War II. Jack joined the Navy and was wounded at sea fighting the Japanese. After the war, he was elected to the House of Representatives at the age of 29, and then to the Senate when he was 35. Then he married the beautiful journalist Jacqueline, also known as Jackie. Hey, Jackie, cute! In 1960, JFK ran against then Vice President Richard Nixon. After a very close race where Kennedy's health, age, and religion was constantly brought into question, he became the youngest person ever elected president of the United States at age 43. His religion was the huge issue because never in U.S. history has there been a president who wasn't Protestant, and Kennedy was a Catholic. Oh no, it's going to be a papist dictatorship now. The Kennedys were a very religiously devout family, and Kennedy will not be the last Catholic to occupy this office. Joe Biden is also a Catholic. That's right, Jack. I'm a rosary-carrying, mass-attending papist. That's my Joe Biden impression. Not very good. So Jack, Jackie, and their two small children, Caroline and John Jr., who was born just weeks after the election, brought a sense of style, youth, glamour, and excitement to the White House. Hey, Mama, welcome to the 60s. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. In 1960, America was in the middle of a Cold War with the USSR. And at home, America was at war with itself during the Civil Rights Movement. JFK encouraged all Americans to support freedom throughout the world and beyond this world, into a new frontier, the final frontier. Kennedy challenged Americans to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. That is my Boston accent attempt. Kennedy spoke of his support for civil rights for all Americans. So the African American community will fully get behind Kennedy. But at the beginning, Kennedy was hesitant to pass civil rights laws because he was afraid of angering the white Democrat supporters in the South. It was Jack's little brother Bobby, who he made Attorney General, that really steered his brother to do more for civil rights. This is the closest America had to having a co-presidency. Bobby did just as much for the country than Jack did during his presidency. We come to November 22nd, 1963. JFK is beginning his re-election campaign. He asked Jackie to come with him to Texas. They were waving to crowds in Dallas in a Lincoln convertible, and at 12:30, gunshots were heard. JFK was shot twice and died soon after. The official story is Lee Harvey Oswald fired 3 shots from the 6th floor. There is a lot of unanswered questions about the Kennedy assassination, and we will probably never have full answers because soon after, the Dallas police arrested Lee Harvey Oswald. Jack Ruby, a mafia boss, shot Oswald as he was being transported from police headquarters. Kennedy's body was transported back to Washington on Air Force One. On the plane, Kennedy's vice president, Lyndon B. Johnson, was sworn in as the next president. He asked Jackie, who was still covered in the blood of her dead husband, to be present for the swearing in. The assassination stunned Americans. Many of Kennedy's goals were left unfinished. Many claim that Kennedy's family is cursed, as many seem to die young under tragic circumstances. Perhaps it was Jackie Kennedy who solidified her husband's legacy by comparing it to a fairy tale. She compared his presidency to his favorite Broadway musical, Camelot, the story of a mythical world ruled by King Arthur, where goodness reigned. Don't let it be forgot that for one brief, shining moment, there was Camelot.
Till December, and exits March the 2nd on the dot. By order, summer lingers through September in Camelot. 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 I know it sounds a bit bizarre. But in Camelot, that's how conditions are. The rain may never fall till after sundown. By 8 the morning fog must disappear. In short, there's simply not a more congenial spot for happily ever aftering than here in Camelot.